Hello, hello. Hi, Julia and Tony. Thank you so
Hello.
much for joining me. We are joined today by Julia and Tony Renouard, um, newest EverScholars and recent attendees of the AI Humanity at the Frontier program. And I'm so excited that you joined us today. Thank you very much. Everybody is curious about this program and how it went and your perspective. So would love to hear from you as you share with EverScholars. I have some questions for you. Can we jump in?
Perfect.
Let's.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Since this was your first program, tell us, how did you first discover EverScholar and what made you decide to attend your first program?
So I discovered it. I listen regularly to Andy's podcast, America's Constitution, and he's talked about EverScholar frequently, and so I finally checked it out. And Tony and I have looked for opportunities for kind of lifelong learning type opportunities. We really That's something we thrive on, and so, I had tried to sign up for one, it got on the wait list, but then I saw this one creep up, and being on the West Coast and, my background in tech, Tony's background is in education, this topic actually was highly relevant for us. And so we jumped on it.
Oh, that's great. Well, you received a coveted spot, so we were so happy that you were able to go. Um, on this program, was there a seminar discussion or question that has stayed with you now that it's over?
So many things have stayed with us now that it's over. Um, when it comes to I tend to be very doom and gloom about it because I'm very human centered. As a teacher, I'm building humans. I'm not building AI models. So as an educator for the last 23, 24 years, building people and thought process and critical thinking, these are all super important to me. Um, that perspective has broadened quite a bit. Having professors like um, Dean Ball and Matisse and Anton and getting into the kinds of conversations that we had allowed me to take a little bit more of a philosophical look at AI. It's not just the technology, because while I still consider much of the technology to be, um, frankly, anti-human, I also think humans are very powerful and perhaps they'll only use what they want. So I'm less doom and gloomy than I was, but I'm more informed about the doom and gloom I retain. Does that sound?
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And it sort of leads to the next question, right? Did anything challenge a belief or assumption that you had about AI, technology, or even humanity? And you sort of touched on this, Tony.
I touched on one of the things that I was surprised about was how conscious the AI developers are about the dangers of what could happen with their technology. And I was surprised at how surprised they were about certain things that they're developing, because as artificial intelligence, it's going to surprise you. It's not just running a program, it's something that develops itself. Now,
Mhm.
so many applications for this to be a really great thing for humanity. So many curing of diseases and solving big issues technically and all that. Um, but they seem to be, to varying degrees, very aware of some of the um, issues towards human prosperity and health and safety. So they're not just working in a vacuum. They seem to be more aware of it than I was giving them credit for. Now,
Mhm.
whether they're doing anything about that, that's the ongoing conversation,
Right.
right? But the fact that they were aware of it and they're having those conversations, that was important to me. So that kind of stuck with me.
Oh, great. Thanks.
And I'd like to add on to that, my background is in tech. And so, I understand the technology, and how it works, probably a little bit better. I'm not an AI expert by any measure, but I think the thing that this seminar did that kind of broadened my perspective was also just bringing in the philosophy and the history
Mhm.
piece, to give us a broader context and to realize that we've actually thought about these issues for thousands of years, and have retold this story, that we can learn from, right, through our own historical storytelling. And that was super powerful. And in addition, understanding where some of these transformative technology points were in our history and how we dealt with them and the problems that they introduced. I think that that's a very powerful tool to understand where we're going.
Mm-hmm. Great, great. Thank you so much, both of you, for that. So these programs have seminars, right, as we've talked about. And then, of course, there are those in-between times where you're having, meals together and conversations with other EverScholars. Was there a conversation with another EverScholar that you'll remember for a long time?
So I'm going to reference this was a big day. We'd gone to a robot factory and other things this day, and we ended with a big feast at a Chinese food restaurant. And one of the things that Andy and others that are running the program like to do is make sure they're mixing up who's sitting with who, so that you get to meet more people and you get to have conversations with different people. And I really appreciated that, because I think first time in the program and everything, you could very easily gravitate to the same two or three people every time. And you're missing out if you do that, because there's so many wonderful people with things to say that you want to sit and talk with. At this particular one, this was a conversation with Anton and with Dean. They had asked the questions, but the rest of us participated. And it really was about the applications of AI in education. And it was kind of a nuts and bolts, here's what we're actually seeing kind of conversation. So I was able to take the philosophical and the ethereal and give some real life examples of both powerful uses for AI in education and the damage that's being done. One of the things that we're seeing at pretty high levels is cognitive offload. What students, and this is not just high school. This is Harvard. This is every college out there. Kids are saying, well, why would I do that work when AI can just do it? It's the product. And
Right.
after this conversation kind of distilled it down to the shift we need to make in education is go back to focusing on the learning and not the product. But we say, well, we grade the product, so it's got to be perfect, so kids use AI. But they've learned nothing. And I'd love to see us take a shift back and learn, how they can use it as a resource or how they can use it to direct them in a way. But then the learning is the piece that they find value in and that we reward, if you want to use that term. So that stuck with me, and I think about it a lot. And I was at a lunch on Saturday where it came up again with some former students and teachers that I'd worked with for a long time. And that was really the main thrust of our whole conversation through lunch is that is AI. These are kids that are going off to grad school and are working, and teachers that are still working. So it was really interesting to take what I had learned, or we had learned, and that kind of drove this conversation with former students and teachers.
I love that. And I really appreciate that as an educator myself. It is definitely very prevalent in our day to day. So thank you for that. You mentioned the professors. What was it like having such direct access to the professors throughout the weekend?
I think it was really great. I think your usual impression, and I wasn't sure what to expect, coming into our first ever scholar, but the usual impression is that the professors are separate from the class. But this was so integrated, and the professors were, participating in our lunches and our dinners, and even the breakfasts. It was just wonderful, just having great conversations. I mean, both learning about them personally, but having kind of extended conversations about the seminar topic itself, and digging in even a little bit further, or learning more about what they're working on. So it was just a fabulous opportunity to get to know them as people, and I think it enhanced the seminars, right? Because we had more personal relationships.
Oh,
And
good.
if I could just add to that real quickly, um, one of the things that I valued so much about all three of these professors is that they were deeply steeped in their subject matter, but they were learners still. I thought it was wonderful that each of them was still, if something came, oh, let's explore that. And they were learners as well, and they were deep participants. They weren't just asking prompt questions and things. They were in it with us, and that felt really good and
Oh, that's
authentic.
great. That's great. Thank you. And so, even having, a guest from OpenAI, did hearing from someone working on the front lines of AI change the way you think about the technology or where it's headed?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, my background is in tech, but but I'm not immersed in that world right now. And the noise that we hear, right? We hear the extreme optimism, we hear the doom and the gloom, and it's hard to suss out what is, what the real story is. And the priceless gift was having somebody just be able to give us frank talk about what they're actually doing, what they're actually forecasting, and what they're actually worried about. Right? Um, that was incredibly eye-opening, and I think that for me was the most um, that was the biggest thing I learned, right? Was just getting a reality check through the noise,
Wow.
right? Of the hype.
Yeah, there's a bunch of mystique with it as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great. So, a lot of EverScholar programs have dynamic duos joining, husband and wife teams. What was it like experiencing EverScholar together as husband and wife?
I will take this one. I thought it was wonderful. So in over the last 15 years or so, I've done seminars similar to this in the economics teaching world, where you get deeply steeped and experts come in and you spend a weekend just talking and discussing. So I always enjoyed those very much, but doing it with my wife was really a wonderful experience. The body of work that consumed us for close to 3 months, because this was a very large body of work. I'm told it wasn't the largest for an EverScholar program, but it seemed pretty big to me. Um, that was what we did, and friends and family just wondered where we went, and we found all the various ways to consume the literature, but we talked about it all the time,
Mm.
and I would hear, "Are you finished with this book?" And I'll be finished with it tomorrow. And then we chat about some of the big highlights, and we approach it very differently, which is good. Um, so we had different insights at the end, and then during the course of the seminars, it was really great for me to hear Julie putting her ideas out there and discussing what she got out of something, because it's often something very different than what I got out of something. So I can learn from my wife in that way, and hopefully she feels the same way about the silliness that I put out there. But I thought it was really wonderful, and having never done something like this with Julie, we absolutely want to do it again. This was really intellectually stimulating. It pushed us in different ways, because her background is in tech and far more savvy about the AI world than mine was. Mine was in dealing with the effects of tech on kids,
Okay.
So we had very different perspectives coming in, but I would absolutely recommend this. There were several other married couples there too, and just my impression in chats with them, they were having the same kind of um, great experience as a team, even though we were on different sides of our debate at the end. That my side won, but
Well,
uh,
what you were talking about in terms of it sounds like you were doing your own study group, right? Between the two of
yeah,
you. And
yeah,
then we didn't talk about this much, but the study groups have become more popular at these programs. And it sounds like you were doing your own, sort of pre-read study group, which, by the way, Andy and EverScholar are unapologetic about the reading list, right? It is
Oh,
intended to
absolutely.
be, as you said, steeped in this knowledge. So it's glad to hear you reference. I'm glad to hear you reference that as well. Well, okay. Well, I have a couple of quick takes then. So if we could just sort of rapid fire, wrap up, and I'll let you guys go. A couple of quick takes. What is one word that describes the weekend?
Energizing.
Okay. Okay. Most unexpected moment.
When our Waymo that was taking us back from the robot factory decided to just pull over with 20 miles more to go and say, "You're done now."
Oh,
The humans couldn't
no.
get it going. No one came to get us. We ended up Ubering to dinner.
Oh my goodness. Oh, the Waymos. I mean, what a unique element of the program. Yeah, that's
Just another
definitely
application. Yeah.
unexpected. Like, what do we do now? Thank you. How about a book that you bought or added to your reading list because of the program?
We have purchased Anton Barbacave, one of our instructors' book, A Web of Our Own Making. We had a reading selection from it as a part of our reading, but I actually very much enjoyed it, enjoyed talking to him, so I went out and bought the book.
Fabulous, fabulous. Okay, and which session of all of them, which session ended too soon?
For me, it was a session on Frankenstein. Um, this classic romantic piece of literature was so applicable to this. Our professor is a scholar of the book Frankenstein and had so many lovely insights that brought out other people's insights. I thought it was hugely informative, and I could have gone on speaking about the literature for hours.
Amazing. Okay, thank you. And speaking of Frankenstein, and we didn't discuss this, but speaking of Frankenstein, did you have your the bobblehead was the Hal slash Frankenstein? There
There
it
we go. Julie's got it right there.
is.
I have mine
There.
back here, but that was brilliant. If
Brilliant, yes.
if if I was on the fence about ever attending EverScholar again and knew that there would be a bobblehead at the end, that would put me right over. But I'm not on the fence, but I still want a bobblehead. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Oh,
We
we're
could make space on our bookshelves to collect the set. So,
oh,
yes.
Yes.
oh, there you go. Okay, okay, the set. I love it. All right, the incentive to have more of them. All right, well, thank you. This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Julia and Tony. Um, EverScholars, if you're watching this is going out in the newsletter. Please look for Julia and Tony at future events. And thank you guys so much for joining us. And it was great to talk with you.
It
Thank
was
you
our
so much,
pleasure.
Melissa.
Thank you.
Lovely, lovely to speak with you.
Thanks.
Bye.